Welcome back, everybody, to the Podecito podcast. I am your host, The Real 469. Thank you for joining me as we journey episode by episode through our collective favorite show. Of course, I'm talking about the incomparable Las Vegas. Here we are on episode 17 of season 2, don't you know? This is a classic Las Vegas episode. The fans love it. You love it. I love it. It's Tainted Love. Yes, this episode aired on Valentine's Day in 2005, February 14th. It has an IMDb rating of 7.7 out of 10, which further lets me know that IMDb, whoever rated these, they just rated basically 7s across the board, because this is a classic episode. How this got to be 7.7 out of 10, I'm not quite sure. That equals a C+. The Las Vegas-The Series site, which you can access via the Wayback Machine. Go ahead and drop a ducat in the bucket for the Wayback Machine if you can, when you get a chance, because they are doing the Lord's work by preserving the internet for us. Las Vegas-Series.com rated as a 5 out of 5 chips. That's an A+. That's 100%. I don't know that I'd go quite that far. The aggregate rating for it is 8.85 out of 10, or a B+. My rating for it, I'll give it to you right now. I don't know if it's a 5 out of 5 chips. That would make it 100%. I'm going to make it 99%, 9.9 out of 10, an A+ still. And I'm just going to give it away. This is one of the greatest episodes of Las Vegas. It's a classic episode, and we know why it's a classic episode here. It was directed by Allison Liddy Brown and written by Gary Scott Thompson.
He's the puppet master!
He is the puppet master, Sam. Yes, he is. This is quite the episode. Lots of stuff happening. We get a new shipper here. We get relationship progress. We get relationship movement. It's a whole bunch of stuff. We get not the climax, but we get sort of an apex to the story we've secretly, subconsciously, subtextually been following with Sam and her relationship stuff over the past season or so. And it's all coming to a culmination right here. And it's fantastic. Let's get into it. This episode starts with us seeing different views of Las Vegas Strip as we whoosh down the strip into the Montecito. And we see that the Pussycat Dolls are performing there. And we see the boxes with the footage moving around circa a 1960s movie as we go ahead and whoosh through the Montecito. As we do, we whoosh and we stop on different couples kissing and embracing. This is Valentine's Day. After all, you see a couple with a shorter guy and a taller woman. We see an Asian couple drinking champagne with each other, and we see a lesbian couple kissing as 3 of the queens start walking by Mary, Sam, and Delinda. As they do, it's a good thing to note that we have the first musical cue of the episode right here. And if you're watching on the original version, Surreal, you have the original version? No, I don't have the original version. But if you're watching on the original version, the DVD, or the streaming services, the song that you hear is Sway by the Pussycat Dolls on all incarnations. This episode is relatively okay with keeping the music the same all throughout, but some things do change occasionally, and we will talk about that when we talk about that. Sam is super duper excited about this new exclusive whale that she's got coming in. Apparently this whale has never used a casino host before. He's a billionaire. He flies in on his private jets to different casinos just to gamble all over the world, and she is the first casino host that he's ever had.
Who is he? He's this billionaire recluse who flies a 747 all over the world to do what? To gamble. And he's never had a casino host before. He's always turned them all down until me.
smile is beginning to frighten me. It is a little demonic.
A little? No one even knows his name. His entourage takes care of everything. And guess what I heard? Guess what I heard, girls? What? He bets $1 million a hand.
Now we know why the girl's smiling.
The $1 million per hand that this large whale usually bets in today's money equates to $1,646,006.14 per hand. Sam is going to rake in the commission. Sam, though, is going to introduce a couple of her whales to the girls and to us, including the Berlinskis, who are another couple of whales that she's gotten to town, as well as her nip-tuck couple, Hank and Helena Hunt.
Nip-tuck couple.
Yeah, nip-tuck couple. She comes to get a little plastic work done. He does some gambling. Then when she goes home, she tells all her friends that it was the spa treatments and the desert air that did her right. Hey, you know what? It's actually kind of sweet. It's Hank's Valentine's Day present to Helena.
I wonder what he got her for her birthday.
That is a good question, Mary. And here's the interesting thing, though. Sam is pawning her whales off again. And this is one thing I'm noticing a pattern here. And this is a pattern that is very subtextual, maybe not subtextual, but it is a through line. Sam, as the greatest casino host of all time, she pawns her whales off on other people a lot. She gets rid of her whales on other people a lot, especially in these last few episodes that she maybe can't handle, or they have a special request for somebody else. But Sam doesn't necessarily do all the work herself. You know what I mean? So she is, in fact, pawning off her whales on Mary and Delinda, particularly the Berlinskis, onto Mary. And Mary's a little tepid about why, but Sam says that
Nothing of the sweetest couple ever. They're high school sweethearts. They've been married for 30 years.
Actually, that is kind of sweet.
Also, Bert thinks that your breasts are lucky. Okay, D.
Why is everyone so fascinated by my breasts?
You're kidding, right?
Mary, that's why. That's one of the reasons why. I do like that, because it starts, and it's true, the Berlinskis, we find out, have been together for 30 years or whatever, but it starts by appealing to Mary's sensitive side. You know what I mean? It starts by appealing to Mary's wish fulfillment, her doe-eyedness. You know what I mean? It starts off there and then becomes what it becomes. But that's where it starts. The Hunts are pawned off onto Delinda, whose breasts unfortunately aren't lucky, according to Sam at least. Actually, really according to the Berlinskis.
Okay, D, now you have Hank and Helena Hunt.
So my boobs aren't lucky?
No. I want you to make sure that Helena makes it to all of her appointments.
And the queens sit there and ruminate about it, but as they do, the kings dash right by them. And just before they can even take a moment to settle in and think about what that is, Mary gets a delivery of flowers and chocolates and a necklace that is just beautiful. And Delinda says that Mary has a secret admirer. We then whoosh up into Ed's office, and Ed is getting berated by Jillian about Valentine's Day. It is Valentine's Day in real life and on the show, as you know. And this is there are two relationships in this episode that are very reminiscent about relationships that I, at the very least, have had. And this is one of them, where Jillian has this big thing in her head. Ed has something he's got to do. He's got jury duty. He can't get out of jury duty. He at least has to go down there for it. And she is so put up about this Valentine's Day thing that she's like, you did this on purpose. This is, you decided that you wanted to, you couldn't get out of it. Of course you could get out of it, whatever. And Ed has to kind of let her know, look, I can't get out of this right now. I have to go to jury duty.
Eddie, if you ever want to play Love Machine with me ever again, then you better get into this whole Valentine's Day program.
Do you really think that I planned this?
Yes, I do.
Well, actually, they gave me a choice. Win a Ferrari or jury duty.
But Jillian won't let it go because she's very hyped up about Valentine's Day. We do find out that Valentine's Day is the day that Ed proposed to Jillian, which is very sweet. So as we go from that storyline to this other storyline that actually connects Ed's and Sam's and Danny's and Mary's storylines together, we hear actually everybody's storyline is really kind of tied to this horse race in the 8th at Santa Anita, with one of Sam's whales betting $200,000 across the board on each horse except his own in that race. Now, that $200,000 that he bets, that's the Berlinskis, the $200,000 that he bets in today's money equates to $329,201.23. However, there are discrepancies all over the place about this horse race at Santa Anita there. First off, here he's talking about the 8th race. We see on screen, we see the 7th race. None of the horses that are listed or mentioned in this episode briefly, tangentially, in like ADR ever race at Santa Anita, if they existed at all. Also, Santa Anita doesn't run races on Monday, and as you know, Las Vegas aired on Monday, and this included this episode here. So there was no race on Valentine's Day. There was a race the day before on that Sunday. Again, none of the horses ever come in and out. We hear about scratches on the PA system that don't exist in the 7th race, but do exist in the 8th race. But even then, there's only 2 scratches, and we hear about 3 scratches, and they're not the horse names. And so, completely fictitious. You're not supposed to go into this kind of detail about the Santa Anita racing horses on a Monday instead of a Sunday, and the horse names and all that other stuff. And I think that's why they really don't list in this episode what that horse's name is. They only say the horse number, which is 6. The 6th horse does race in both those races the day before. But again, there's no horse racing at Santa Anita on Monday. Thursday through Sunday is when they have events, and generally that's it. Now, you can go to Santa Anita on those other days, I believe. If there's other horse races, you can do like off-track betting from there, but that's not what we see here. That's nowhere near as glamorous as what we see here. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of discrepancies here. Don't pay too much attention to that. Just pay closer attention to what Burt Belinsky is doing with the money. And so Ed is tipped in on this, and he can't exactly figure out what's going on. At least that's what he's getting from the sports book. And so he goes down. He sees in one of his cameras that the Kings are coming to rehearse, or coming to the rehearsal for the Pussycat Dolls. And we get to see the Pussycat Dolls rehearse Sway in the concert hall for the Montecito. And the boys are boying.
Oh, I need to get me a kitty. Yeah, kitty.
Easy. Listen, that's Mike is on it, and we get to see the Pussycat Dolls practice, rehearse here, and Ed comes down specifically to talk to the Kings. Obviously, that's the only reason he came down there, don't you know? And so he also came down there to task them with a couple of different things to do, including but not limited to getting Danny to go to Santa Anita to watch the horse races, to see exactly what's going on with Berlinski and the horses. While Danny's doing that, Ed has given the shop over to Mike to watch, since both of them will be busy. Ed with jury duty and Danny at Santa Anita.
Okay. And you watch the shop while I'm gone, okay?
By myself?
Huh?
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
It's the day shift. Ho, listen. I need you also to pick up my Valentine's Day gift for Jerry.
What?
Errand boy. What are you, Chuckles the Clown? Wasn't that your job last year?
That might have been Danny's job last year. Last year around this time, the closest episode was the New Orleans episode. So we didn't exactly see him corralling Jillian's gift for Valentine's Day, but it very much could have been. It very much could have been. By the way, I do have to point out Ed's hair is looking a lot better in this episode. His makeup definitely has gotten way better. Like, it's back to a natural look. His hair is still slightly in transition. It's not quite as good as it was earlier in the season. I think maybe it's because it's a little bit longer. He needs to maybe cut it a little bit, or trim it down or something like that. It still looks a little toupee, but it's better than it was in the last couple episodes.
You should probably get to jury duty, Ed. I got a couple minutes.
I'm sure he does. So as we do whoosh through the casino, there's some minor things to note. There's one little part of the whoosh where you can see a couple of people as you're coming down the escalator trying to get out of the shot. And there's a shot of a picture, a flyer for a fight that looks like it's De La Hoya fight, but the poster is backwards on the light up screen. But that's just small little notes that, again, you're not supposed to notice, but I'm doing this podcast and I do all these details and I dig them all up for you. Aw, happy Valentine's Day. Anyway, as we whoosh through, we see Nessa and Sam waiting with the butlers and stuff at the front of Belisara as Sam is waiting for her holy grail of whales. And Nessa is almost slightly disgusted at how almost turned on Sam is by this whale coming through. His entourage starts walking through. We don't see anything through the entourage. You cannot see anything through the entourage. And as they open up, they're in double file line. And as they open up, again, you can't see anything through them. And we whoosh backwards from Sam to the whale, where we hear,
This is him. This is his entourage.
Hello, Sam.
we cut to the intro as Sam passes out. Oh my goodness, our poor Samantha Jane Marquez is falling onto the floor, or really into the arms of what appears to be a butler. Actually, it may just be a security guard and the chef there in Belisara, and Nessa watches her fall. If you are watching on a streaming service, you can watch this here. This is the intro. This is the best intro in the business. If your streaming service asks you if you want to skip that intro, you can if you want to. You don't have to flex your power here. This is Valentine's Day episode after all. You don't have to, but you can. We've already proven it. Skip that streaming service. This is the best damn intro in the business. You don't skip this intro. This is a Las Vegas intro. This is the intro to a classic Las Vegas episode. You don't skip it. You don't skip it. Speaking of skipping it, Ed is trying, we whoosh through the Vegas Strip down to downtown Vegas, where Ed is trying to skip jury duty. But unfortunately, he's not going to get himself out of it, and because the receptionist does not exactly care for his plight.
You don't understand. I'm president of operations for the Montecito Hotel.
And I drove an $800,000 vehicle to work this morning.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's called the city bus. Now sit down and shut up like your fellow citizens.
That $800,000, I wasn't going to do this, but sure, why not? That $800,000 vehicle that she rode in on, the city bus, it equates to $1,316,804.92 in a day's money. Just for her joke. That's probably not accurate anyway. But hearing that Big Ed is the president of operations at the Montecito after berating him, and she does this backwards. She could have, she probably could have. She probably couldn't have. She probably could have gotten arrested and or lost her job if she decided to do it this way. But realistically, she should have asked him if he could get her Pussycat Dolls tickets for tonight first. But instead, she goes about it by saying,
Oh, by the way, can you get me and my boyfriend some tickets to the Pussycat Dolls Valentine's Day show tonight? You know it is sold out.
Meanwhile, we do the 60s cut, the 60s asymmetric square cut on the screen as Nessa and Delinda and Sam wake her up from her nightmare, and she sees Dean Cain waving at her and smiling at her, and she is still freaking out and hyperventilating while surrounded by her friends there.
Gosh, that's my worst dream. What's going on?
What? Oh my God, that's my husband. It's the husband you wouldn't tell me about.
What?
Sam, I have more important things to do than deal with you freaking out about your husband, like running a casino in Ed's absence. Oh, damn, there's Jillian. I gotta go.
No. Okay.
Mrs. D, don't you look
Drop
lovely?
the act, Mike. And where did Ed hide my Valentine's Day present? What's the matter with Sam?
Nothing. She's got a little excited about seeing her husband on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
So that scene helps further illustrate how obsessed Jillian is with finding her Valentine's Day present. She was obsessed enough in the beginning that she was berating Ed for having to pull jury duty on that day. She was obsessed enough to be chasing around to try to find her present, as opposed to just waiting the night. She's so obsessed with this thing that she doesn't even care that Sam is damn near passed out on the floor there, having problems, or even that Delinda is even over there. Her daughter is over there. She doesn't care. She's solely focused on this present. So that's Mike down, who can't help her. Meanwhile, Sam is still freaking out. Delinda is going to abandon her because...
Oh, sorry, sweetie. I've got your nip-tuck wheel to deal with, remember? My boobs aren't lucky. No, your boobs are great.
No, I can't. Please stay with me. We're friends.
And so that just leaves Nessa, who Sam is really trying to get her to help her.
Well, isn't this interesting? Sam's husband comes to visit on Valentine's Day.
Bye-bye. No, don't say goodbye. Yes.
And Sam dashes off behind a sign for the sports book, letting Nessa introduce herself to Casey Manning, Sam's husband, who we've heard about all these few episodes, and Sam is 100% freaking out about. There's a couple things here. First off, obviously, Dean Cain is a recurring character. He's not guest star. Here we're going to be seeing Dean Cain and Casey Manning quite a bit in this series. Pussycat Dolls, also, interestingly enough, not guest stars. We're going to see them again, too. So we got very few actual guest stars for this one. We do have some pretty good ones, though. As Sam is hiding behind that sign for Santa Anita, we see it cut to the actual racetrack, and we hear some horse names coming through on that as well. The horse names that we hear being said there during that race that we go through also, again, aren't real names, but it's Derry that's there at Santa Anita with the Balinskis, and we hear about them being together for 30 years. As we do, Mrs. Balinsky gives a wink to Danny.
Bert and Betty, they've known each other since they were kids. They were high school sweethearts, and they've been married for 30 years. That's sweet.
I could be wrong, but I think that Betty is trying to hit on me.
I'm only here because Bert thinks my breasts are lucky.
And we see Danny notice the necklace that Mary's wearing, but he says that the necklace isn't from him. And Mary is not, she's confused by that. She thought that maybe it was from Danny, but meanwhile, Danny sees Balinsky getting an envelope and going off, and so he follows him because he's suspicious of what the guy's doing. Meanwhile, Mrs. Balinsky, Betty, is asking Mary about the history between her and Danny. While we're here, we might as well talk about it because I mentioned that we had a couple of guest stars. The Balinskys are one of the guest stars that we are going to get to hear from, so I'm going to bring them up. We don't necessarily get to hear from the Nip Tuck couple, so I'm going to kind of leave them out. But we are going to sit here and talk about the Balinskys for half a second. Let's let the dealer shuffle the deck for a second, and we'll be right back. If you're ready to find your fitness family focused on being knowledgeable, being open-hearted, getting results, and having an elevated experience, then you're ready for KORE. That's Core Nutrition Fitness. The NASM certified personal trainers at Core cater to all fitness levels, ages, and body types. Whether it's the Gluteus Maximus and Queen Camp classes for the ladies, or the Minute Monday weight training for everyone. If you're in the Los Angeles area and ready to build better health and great friendships, the Core Fitness family is the place for you. Go to CoreNutritionFitness.com now for details. That's KORE NutritionFitness.com. Mr. Balinsky is played by an actor named Steve Tom. Steve Tom made his first appearance on television in Silk Stockings as an anchorman or TV announcer for 2 episodes. He was then in The Bold and The Beautiful, yes, for 2 episodes, where he played a minister. He was also in The Young and the Restless, yes, as both Ben and Steve Allen for 2 episodes, probably because they just forgot the name to give him, and then, or the second time they decided to give him his real name. But, you know, Las Vegas does love their soap opera actors. He then guest starred for an episode as Leonard Stewart alongside Dylan McDermott, Steve Harris, Kelly Williams, and future cast member Laura Flynn Boyle in The Practice. He does an episode of Boston Legal alongside former guest star Nina St. John herself, and then does this episode of Las Vegas as Burt Belinsky. He then does the LA Riot Spectacular alongside Emilio Estevez, Charles S. Dutton, and former Las Vegas guest stars George Hamilton and Snoop Dogg. He then does an episode as Steve in Heroes. Heroes, yes. Direct connection to Las Vegas. The Montecito exists in that world. Fast forward quite a few more years, he does The Defenders with Jim Belushi and recurring cast member, we love to see him, Jerry O'Connell. And the latest thing you can see him in is Hidden Memories. He stars in that in 2024 as Orion. That's Steve Tom as Burt Belinsky. His blushing bride in this episode is played by an actress named Suzanne Ford. Suzanne got her first IMDb credit in 1977 in a TV movie called The Deadliest Season as Miss Converse. Fast forward quite a few years, he does this episode of Las Vegas. There's not necessarily a lot of stuff in her IMDb up to that point to suggest that she can necessarily fit this role. Maybe, not even Gilmore Girls, she's a vocalist in that. So, because she actually doesn't have a whole lot of credits in between then either. So I would maybe say Happy Family. This looks like it's a sitcom with Christine Baranski and John Larroquette. But outside of that, there's not much that I would say that she did before then that necessarily fits this, but she does fit it. Fast forward after that, she co-stars alongside former guest star Daniel Hugh Kelly in God's Country as Emma Doherty. She then co-stars alongside former guest star Paul Adelstein in Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. She then co-stars as Betty. Oh my, wait a minute. For one episode in Magpie, Magpie, the new Magpie. I wonder if that's Betty Berlinski. I wonder if that is the direct correlation. If Betty Berlinski, of all characters, is the direct correlation between Las Vegas and the new Magpie. If they share that universe solely because of Suzanne Ford. The latest thing you can see her in is she plays Betsy in Found Footage, the making of the Patterson Project in 2025. She got a couple things in post-production as we speak, but that's Suzanne Ford as Betty Belinsky, a.k.a. Betty on Magpie? So as we continue on, we see Mr. Belinsky putting down $200,000 on his horse in the next race. Again, this is the problem. Like, they even in this episode, there's an issue with their continuity. They couldn't just figure out this horse in this race. If they're going to do something like that, that's a fairly easy thing to do. First off, you do need to, they do at least are consistent with the 6th horse, but 7th or 8th race, like, come on, you gotta pick that detail up. Danny overhears this and calls into Mike to try to check in and see if there's any changes that have been made to the odds at their sports book. Meanwhile, Mike is asking about Jillian and the gift.
Danny, what's the deal with Jillian and this Valentine's Day present? She's going postal on me.
Oh, that's just old people foreplay.
Oh, that's sweet.
So we see that the Belinsky's horse is now the 3-1 favorite after being the 30-1 underdog in that race. But at the same time, Mike is telling Danny that Casey is betting at the tables, or trying to bet at the tables, asking for no limits, and that he is, in fact, Sam's husband. Meanwhile, Danny has to dodge Mr. Belinsky to not make it appear like he's following him, even though he is following him. And at the same time, we have Mike trying to patch Ed in on the situation because we got a whole lot going on at the same time. Ed, meanwhile, is in front of the judge. He's still trying to get out He's letting the judge know that he's got some expertise in gaming and as the president of operations at the Montecito, and that's probably what should get him off.
Right. Well, I am president of operations for the Montecito.
The court is well aware who you are, Mr. Delinda.
So you're familiar with the Montecito, are you?
I know it quite well. In fact, I lost a bundle there last month. The slots are a little tight.
Well, I take personal offense with that, Your Honor. It is with great pride that I say the Montecito slots are looser than any in town.
Just take a seat in the jury box, Mr. Delinda.
Yes, ma'am.
You may have recognized the judge. You should. A lot of people do recognize her. She's only been in not that many things, actually. The judge is played by an actress named Megan Cole. Megan Cole's first IMDb credit is in Hot Pursuit as Joanna in 1984. Fast forward to where most people recognize her from, probably. She played Peggy in 2 episodes of Seinfeld, Elaine's co-worker. 2 episodes. She was in 2 episodes of Seinfeld, and I'm sure that's where most people know her from. That's where I know her from. Now, mind you, she's got a very distinct voice, too, and a very distinct look. So it's easier for her to pop out on that show and be more recognizable. And the character was not necessarily important or integral, but definitely brought something to those episodes that she was in that made you focus on her in those episodes. There was something about her that drew your eye to her in those episodes. So that's where most people probably know her from. Fast forward, she also co-starred alongside future cast member Laura Flynn Boyle in 4 episodes of The Practice as Meredith Pearson. She does this episode of Las Vegas, and the latest thing you can see her in was in 2008, actually, where she again played it was the very next thing she did, where she again played a judge, Vivian Ryan, in Eli Stone. So the last 2 things on her IMDb credit are, actually the last 3 things on her IMDb credit have something to do with the legal profession. Before that, it was Judging Amy, where she played an attorney. So attorney, judge, judge are her last 3 credits. That's Megan Cole. And the judge is not pleased with Big Ed's slot tightness. Big Ed trying to get out of jury duty. He's in the jury box. Meanwhile, Big Ed gets his Bluetooth, the early versions of the Bluetooth earpiece, and pops it in, pretending to scratch his ear, but he does have the Bluetooth in his ear and away from the judge, and he's in on a 3-way call with the 2 kings as they're trying to figure out the goings-on at the Montecito, very specifically Mr. Berlinski's play and exactly what's going on. Meanwhile, Mike is trying to get Ed to do something about Sam's whale at the casino. Meanwhile, you have Danny on the big square, and they're adjusting the sizes of the squares on each side so that you can see different things and hear different things at the same time. As this is happening, Ed hears that the case has something to do with gaming as well, more than gaming but surveillance, and that Ed tries to use that as a reason to get out of jury duty, but the judge won't let him do it. He's got to sit there in the jury box on the Bluetooth, trying to not appear like he's talking, almost like he's in class. Meanwhile, Danny is still trying to follow Mr. Berlinski, but he's followed him on the escalator. Berlinski stopped midway up the stairs, and Danny has to try to backtrack his way back up the escalator. Danny does a great job of this, and he hops over to the stairs. By the way, this is Santa Anita. They are, in fact, at Santa Anita, and this is exactly, almost basically what it still looks like today. So Danny is still following Berlinski, who went to a restricted area, but he's trying to find out exactly what this guy is doing. He's talking to his jockey, and they think he might be trying to throw the race, but they're not sure.
Found out Sam hasn't seen her husband since they got married. He spent the last 7 years amassing a fortune to try and win her back.
Excuse me, sir.
Danny.
Careful there.
Danny, what are you doing?
Excuse me?
Huh? Danny, what's going on?
Meanwhile, Sam comes dashing into the office as Mike has a couple of things to ask her about. Mr. Berlinski and the horse and her billionaire husband. And Sam really is hyperventilating, basically.
No, I want you to pull his comps, throw him out, put him in the black book.
I can't put him in the black book.
Yeah, you can.
No,
and you're about to right now.
No, I cannot.
Oh, Sam! Someone wants to see you.
Sam!
Meanwhile, Nessa is on a hunt now. Nessa, this is the culmination for Nessa from what she had to deal with Sam before, where she said she was going to find out about Sam's past relationships and past husband. This is Nessa's. Sam thought this was her white whale of whales. No, this is Nessa's huge Moby Dick white whale moment to try to needle Sam about the marriage. So she comes in with Casey and is facilitating the chase for Sam with Casey as Sam dashes out of the office and Casey follows. Meanwhile, Ed is in the jury box with the Bluetooth as Jillian is still trying to hound him about the Valentine's Day and the gift and everything, but he gets caught on the phone. And the judge tells him to get rid of it or he'll be in contempt of court. So Ed has to get off the phone and leaves Mike, Danny, and Jillian to their own devices.
I can't talk right now. Danny, Mike.
Mr. DeLine,
Mom?
are you on the phone?
Me?
Mr. DeLine, turn your phone off or I'll hold you in contempt of court and you'll be spending Valentine's Day in jail with a cellmate named Bubba.
Speaking of devices, Betty Belinsky comes up to Danny over by the Santa Anita and asks him about jewels.
I can't think of a better Valentine's Day present than jewelry. Can you?
No.
And family jewels are the best kind.
That's quite a stinger. That's quite a stinger, ain't it? Oh my goodness. Take a breath. There's a lot that's been going on in this episode so far. And those scenes, and that's another reason why this episode is so good. They're able to juggle all the stories so well. There's a whole lot going on. There's not even C stories. There's probably like 5 or 6 different stories happening in this episode all at once. And I know that's hard to juggle sometimes, but when they get it right, they really do get it right. So, man, this is great to see here so far. Delinda is in the room with Mrs. Hunt, the nip tuck wife, as the husband is probably out gambling. As she is, we hear the music Divine Surrender by Stephen Rhodes, spelled like Dusty, Rhodes, on All Incarnations, as well as a reprise of this in a scene coming up in like 2 or 3 different scenes. But Delinda is there. The nip tuck wife has her face all covered up and bandaged. She can't really talk because of all the work that she allegedly had done. There's a nurse that's there in the room with them, but she obviously can't speak because they'd have to pay the extra to do that. And so Delinda, as she takes a look at the photos and sees that Mrs. Hunt might have asked for a C cup.
Yeah. Well, see, someone gave you a size E. Yeah.
So, as Mrs. Hunt is squealing about the E cup as opposed to a C cup, Sam comes dashing into the room. Now, here's the thing about Sam coming to dash into the room. If you're looking, you can see Vanessa's shadow already in the room before Vanessa's in the room. So, or before Sam is in the room. So, obviously, Vanessa was over there waiting for her cue to come in and then did it, but you can see her shadow before she allegedly was in the room already. But she was looking for a place to hide from Casey. She can't hide under the bed. Most casinos or most hotels I've been to, the bed is like kind of closed off, so you can't put anything under it necessarily. She thinks that she's safe, but Casey is at the door, so Sam needs some place to hide. We then immediately cut to the bar at Santa Anita, one of the bars at Santa Anita, and Betty Belinsky is flirting with Danny at the bar. Meanwhile, we have another musical cue here. It's Lovers and Friends by Frank and Friends. We've seen Frank and Friends before. I think Lovers and Friends they've used before too, but it's on All Incarnations. Meanwhile, Mary reveals to Danny that Sam didn't tell them that they're swingers, and they invited them to a Valentine's Day swinging party.
You really didn't get me the necklace, the chocolates and flowers.
No, that wasn't me.
Wait, you got me something for Valentine's Day, right? I mean, because I got you something, just as a friend.
No. And I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I completely forgot. I gotta. Odds are changing all over.
I'm gonna just walk away now.
Okay.
Pretend like I'm not embarrassed. Okay.
Oh, Mary. Oh, Mary, you always undid me. Oh, Mary. This is part of the thing that makes dairy shippers not get rid of dairy, especially at this point in the series, right? Like, we cling on to it because clearly Mary is not over Danny. She will never be over Danny. She will never be over Danny. And you can see it here, even though she called off the engagement, even though she kind of broke things off with Danny, you can see that she was hoping that maybe Danny just trying to rekindle it, is trying to do something, is trying to make a gesture, is trying to come back, especially on Valentine's Day. And I'm sure a day like Valentine's Day affects Mary differently than it does other people. I'm sure. And that's part of why the dairy ship is so strong, because you can still see the connection there. So we cut to Mike getting a phone call from Danny about the different odds, and he's already sitting there watching it. Meanwhile, Jillian is in the office hounding Mike about the present. Delinda opens the door for Casey as he goes in searching for Sam.
Hi.
Hi, thank you. Where is she?
Who? Wow, you are cute.
Thanks, but I'm married.
And this is the scene where we hear the reprise of Divine Surrender as Casey is coming into the double suite looking for
Sammy baby lammy cakes.
What a great nickname that I know annoys Sam to no end. But we then cut to the trial. Ed is sitting there watching the guy, and very specifically watching the guy write down notes with his right hand. Ed, because of his surveillance expertise, is looking at the information given presented before him and has an issue with it.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I ask a question, please?
No.
But you see these surveillance photos, Your Honor?
Mr. DeLine?
Sorry.
But he's gabbled down, and he's got to sit there and look at the rest of the testimony until he can't anymore.
That the suspect stole from the slot machines at the supermarket using a light wand.
A light wand? What are you, nuts? You can't see a light wand.
Mr. DeLine, sit down.
But the interjection is again dismissed, and Ed is able to get out of the situation, at least for a few minutes, so he can try to figure out what's going on with this case.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Excuse me. Light wand.
So Ed is trying to get Mike to check out the surveillance cameras at that supermarket on the strip on the case that he's working. Meanwhile, Jillian is behind Mike, searching for her present to no end, to the point of intimidating Mike.
No, that wasn't it. Mrs. D, that look on your face is starting to scare me. I've seen it in Ed and Delinda, and it's not good. Is it hot in here?
So Ed puts in another call to Danny to try to figure out what's going on with the Belinsky case. Mrs. Belinsky comes in and starts flirting with Danny quite aggressively, and Danny ends up hanging up on Ed, even though he probably shouldn't. He says he's got a bad connection. He probably should sit there and talk to him, but I guess it's hard to do that with Belinsky sitting right there next to him. As Ed comes out of the stall, the bailiff is sitting there, or standing right there waiting for him to tell him to get back into the jury box. the ruse didn't exactly work for him. But he was at the very least able to, actually, was he able really to accomplish much? No, because Mike can't check out the footage, and Danny doesn't have any information and or can't talk. So it ended up being kind of useless, which is strange for Ed, actually. Meanwhile, Nessa and Casey talk to each other about Casey's history with Sam. That Casey was rich before, he had a rich family.
You know, my father thought that Sam was just a gold digger, and he threatened to cut me off if I married her.
But you married her.
Of course I did.
And he cut you off.
Yep. But you know what? She was worth every single penny of it. See, Sam never knew that my family had any money at all until after we were married.
You didn't tell her?
Didn't seem important. We were young and in love. Of course, when she found out, she flipped.
Yeah, well, sometimes Sam can be a bit of a contradiction.
I just want to talk to her, Nessa.
The only way I know how to get Sam's attention is by playing big money. It's like she's got a sixth sense. She can smell big money in play.
Then give me a marker for 10 million.
That's quite the marker that he put out there. And that's very interesting to hear about the story of Casey and Sam and to fill in that blank. Now, it's still a little baffling to me why Sam would be necessarily running from him for this reason, but we'll hear more about that a little bit later. But we do know that Sam and Casey were together. They were married / are married. We do know the history that Casey, millionaire, former millionaire, now billionaire, former millionaire, was cut off from dad for marrying Sam, but Sam was so in love with Casey and had Casey's heart so much that he said, okay, fine, I want Sam. And I get it. He said he wanted Sam. 100% understand why and how he would do that. He gets the $10 million marker. That $10 million marker from Nessa equates today to $16,460,061.44. We then cut to the room where Sam is getting the head wraps unwrapped from her as she was hiding in the room before alongside Mrs. Hunt as a patient to try to obfuscate from Casey.
Someone's playing big money.
How do you know?
And off goes Sam to find the big money.
Why don't you take a little break?
Yeah, that's a good idea. You're gonna stretch the legs, wash the face, refocus.
There you go.
I assume you're interested in large amounts of money.
It's Vegas, who isn't?
If you like the podcast and you want to help support it, you can buy me a coffee, send a Cash App, or join our coffee, KO-FI, and or Patreon. Just search The Podecito on all those platforms. Meanwhile, the jury duty is on lunch. Ed has to take off, but he is going to very quickly take off because he's going to try to find the information that he's looking for with this kid. I'm guessing that the shot that we see here in the lounge is of, or in this area is of, some part of the municipal building in Las Vegas, because they linger on it for a while and it does look relatively lived in. I can't exactly place it, but that looks like it might be a spot there where they at least did have, and they are filming it there. So Ed tells the story of why he's so intrigued with this case and why he believes in it so much.
And you know, when I was a kid, right before my dad died.
Stop right there. When he was a kid, right before his dad died. If you recall, in season 1, the episode, You Can't Take It With You, where we meet Ed's mother, Bette DeLine, played by June Lockhart, who just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Mrs. D. 100, right? She's 100. At the end of that episode, she tells Ed that it's been 15 years since his father died. That was last year, as of the screening of this episode. Which means that it's now been 16 years as of this episode since Ed's dad died. Unless you're going to tell me that Ed is 30 is 33 and Jillian and maybe Jillian might be 33, and Delinda is like 7. Get out of here. Get out of here. Like that. So again, some continuity error here. Either Ed's dad has been dead longer than 15 years, or they forgot that detail and just went with this story anyway to kind of boost it up. They could have done both. Like they didn't have to throw in the "before my dad died" gimmick. He could have just said, "I got into trouble," and he didn't have to say "before my dad died." Right before my dad died. He didn't have to say that. But anyway, he goes on to tell the story about how he got in trouble and was for stealing hubcaps. And in the trial, even though he was guilty, there was a guy who refused to convict him. And when he was released, that juror told him, "I'm giving you another shot, don't blow it." And Ed immediately went to the recruiting office.
Wow. You're married to somebody 30 years and you think you know everything.
Not everything.
That's very sweet. That is very sweet. And we know that the Lyons, at least as of this era, have been married for 30 years. There was probably something that was said earlier about how long they've been married, but here we're going to say that they've been married for 30 years. And Ed, meanwhile, is going to try to find out what he can. Oh, yeah, I think it's got to be, because that's a long tracking shot. So it's got to be from that same building. Meanwhile, Mike calls Ed because Casey is on quite the roll there. He hit his point 16 times in a row. $10 million marker. He's got the Pussycat Dolls around him. He's got everybody around him. And down comes Sam to meet him because he's playing big money. Meanwhile, Danny gets a call into Ed and lets him know what's going on with the horse. The deal is that Bert Belinsky put out a feeler or made a deal to sell his horse, and talking about how there's possible gaming violations in 2 states, and the Montecito doesn't want to be involved in that whatsoever, but they might be anyway. But Danny says that he's going to blow the whistle after Ed tells him to. But before that, Sam says she wants the money that Casey won, even though Casey says that she said that she didn't care about the money. But she really just wants him out. She really just wants to needle him. And you can see Sam bubbling. You can see her face kind of boiling up at the top of the screen. Meanwhile, on the bottom of the screen, Delinda is doing the Delinda thing. And Delinda seems to be the one that's tasked, at least in a lot of these episodes, with talking to the big celebrity guests, especially if they're a musical star, and introducing herself to them and interacting with them. Because I guess maybe she's considered the hot club owner of the thing, right? It's cool places to be, Mystique. And so she's the one that usually has this interaction with the guest stars, whether it's the Pussycat Dolls, Black Eyed Peas, Snoop Dogg. She's usually the one that comes in, Brooks and Dunn. She's usually the one that comes in and flatters them, and they get their couple of seconds of dialogue with, and they talk about, the Pussycat Dolls talk about how much they love Delinda's outfit. Meanwhile, Sam climbs on top of Casey's back and starts pounding down on his back and shoulders.
We're together.
It's very Pussycat.
Really? Talk about a girl going wild.
Sam, no. Sam, you gotta stop hitting him. Sam, let him go. Let him go.
Sam!
After being calmed down by Mike, and it seemingly calmed down, everything settled for a second, she goes right back to it.
You causing a scene. Now calm down. Are you okay? Are you calm?
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. There's nothing to see here.
I'm so sorry.
Are you okay?
I'm sorry.
Sam! Oh, no. Okay, you're out of control. You're out of control.
That's my wife.
Oh, that's terrific. I told you, classic episode. We're classic episoding it here. And so I told you that there's a couple relationships that remind me of myself. The Sam and Casey one is the other one. Sam and Casey 1 is the other relationship. Not necessarily the jumping on top of me and beating me the way Sam did, but the back and forth, the chasing, I know you want me. Yeah, I'm saying I don't, but I really do. So why? You're so intoxicating type relationship. So we cut back to Santa Anita. We hear that the weather there is 76 degrees. Wind is calm. It was actually 65 degrees on Valentine's Day in 2005. But okay, fine. And we hear about a couple of horses that are scratched again. Don't worry about that part. Derry is in Santa Anita, and Danny tells Mary that he's got to try to find a track official before the race starts. It's 5 minutes before that race starts with a handicap and a purse of $10,000. That $10,000 equates to $16,460.06 in today's money for the purse for that race. Bert is absolutely hypnotized, speaking of hypnotized, by Mary's breasts.
This looks like a nice spot to watch the race. Race, Bert, not my breasts.
We're gonna win this race because of them.
Glad they could help.
Remember, Bert wanted to rub those for her luck. Meanwhile, Danny is trying to find a track official. Meanwhile, Mike is complaining to Delinda about Casey's winnings and stuff on his watch while he's watching the day shift.
I cannot believe it. I finally get a shot to get out of Danny's shadows, and this...
Mike, get a hold of yourself.
What is it with your family and hitting people?
And Casey has rows and rows of chips in front of him. And stacks and stacks and rows of chips in front of him. Meanwhile, the Pussycat Dolls are watching him win.
I know you still love me, Sam.
I don't love you, Casey.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
I think you do.
You gotta go.
Excuse me.
Sam?
That scene right there, just before Mike comes in and shuts down, that scene right there is, first off, it's the start of a great montage. It's the start of a great part of this episode. But it's also, and it's a visual this is great. It's a visual interpretation. We'll get to that. It's a visual interpretation of their relationship. But also, that's part there is a perfect encapsulation of that other relationship I was talking about. Where, matter of fact, that's happened to me more than once. Wow, I just remember that. Yeah, that's happened to me more than once. Where it's like, we're here. Why aren't we doing this? Look, feel the chemistry. The chemistry is so thick, baby. You could electricity is in the air. You could cut it with a knife. You shouldn't cut electricity with a knife, but you can cut it with a knife, and it doesn't happen because of non reasons. It doesn't happen. With Sam and Casey, I'm of the mindset that the reasoning still isn't as valid. Of the breakups of the show that we've seen so far, of the major characters, Delinda to Danny makes sense. Mary to Danny makes sense, at least for right now, right? It makes sense at least for right now. Casey and Sam, we'll hear more about the relationship, but Casey and Sam, as of right now, Mike shuts down the table, though, because there's entirely too much money in play. You know, everybody's got to just gotta stop playing. But there's stacks of chips in front of everybody else, too, because they've all been winning off of Casey. The Line sisters talk about the Casey-Sam relationship and what that actually means for Sam.
Why is she so freaked out about a billionaire husband who's smoking hot, sexy, and sweet? He's the one guy alive that can do to her what she does to everyone else.
You mean manipulate, scam, scheme, and seduce?
Yeah.
No wonder she's afraid of him.
I mean, okay, but the guy, like, manipulate, scam, seduce, what's the manipulation, right? Like, he's wanting her, I mean, we haven't seen it so far, again, and there's history, there's 7 years, so 5 years before this, of history that we didn't know. Maybe there isn't, but I don't know. I don't know. Well, I got to flesh that out more. So Mike gets a call from Ed as he's coming back to the courthouse, and Mike has shut down the table. Ed tells him not to shut it down until he gets there. It's a good thing Mike does shut down the table because Ed's not going to get back until the nightfall. But he got some evidence from the supermarket that the cameras there are color but not black and white, which means that the photos that they have in the store are black and white, or in the courthouse are black and white, and they may be trying to railroad this kid. So he asked Jillian to put in a call to Luis to try to check out the store. Meanwhile, we cut back to Santa Anita. Danny is trying to get to a track official, but before then he's able to get to a waitress who's able to direct him towards a track official who's still further and further away. Really, Danny should be trying to get, probably the easiest way to get to a track official might be to try to go straight down as opposed to going around the track, like go straight down onto the actual track to find somebody to get him closer to a track official. But okay, he's taking the long way around, and we'll see how that works out. Meanwhile, as he's doing that, we do see Sam on one side of the ladies' room door and Casey on the other side, and they talk about their history a bit. As they do, we get another musical cue here. If you're watching on the original or the DVD, the song is Happy by the Daylights. And if you're watching on the streaming services, the song is Memories of an Old Friend by Apollo. Memories of an Old Friend by Apollo is an okay enough song, I guess, for a is a good enough song. Not okay enough. It's a good enough song for a CW show. Actually, maybe a new Netflix show. Like the way Netflix is writing their romance drama shows, it probably fit on one of those shows. But it doesn't fit here. Happy by the Daylights is the better song. Certainly for this scene. It doesn't fit here. But along the way, we do hear some things that they haven't divorced each other for 7 years, which also doesn't quite make sense. Because if you recall, I have the picture of Sam's marriage license that we saw on screen. And in that marriage license, we see a couple things. First off, the marriage license is from 2001. That is 4 years previous to this episode, not 7. Second, it says that Casey is 25 as of the airing of this episode. Dean Cain is 39 as of the airing of this episode. Also, it lists him as Caucasian. I guess mostly Caucasian, sure, but he does have some Japanese heritage as well, does Dean Cain. So but that's something that, you know, no one would really know. I mean, I could kind of tell him, like, he's not just white. Look at his eyes. But the timeline of them being married in 2001 versus 7 years doesn't work out. Were they together for 7 years? That might make more sense. But the dialogue says that she's been avoiding him for 7 years. Not that they haven't been married for 7 years. Or we've been together for 7 years. So there is that, again, the timeline disconnect, maybe the Las Vegas Bible wasn't as thorough as it should have been or could have been. But yeah, and of course, you're not supposed to, they weren't thinking about people doing rewatch podcasts then. So why would you? Why would you think that? Anyway, we get more of the story of Sam and Casey, and Sam is on the other side of the door crying. I don't know. We've seen her tear up, but this emotion where she's thinking, it's a lot of mixed emotions, and that's probably the core of this relationship, is the mixed emotions, mostly from Sam. And I still don't quite understand the mixed emotions. Maybe it's a power thing, because Sam really is a power money girl. Maybe it's a power thing, and maybe she's uncomfortable with that kind of power that Casey, because it is. Because listen, fellas, there is a power in being that charming to whoever you're that charming to. Not everybody's charming to everybody, right? There's a lot of people who think that, who's the hot young guy now? Who's the hot young kid now? The Superman, the new Superman. I'm sure, or not before him was maybe just before him was like Lip from The Bear, right? The guy from The Bear, Lip from Shameless, right? Now, whoever the hot young hottie is now, right? There's somebody who thinks he's ugly. Somebody who doesn't get the appeal. There's somebody who wouldn't be charmed by him whatsoever. There's somebody who is in no way, shape, or form crawling at his feet, right? But there is somebody who would melt at whatever he says, right? And also there's somebody who understands that is happening to them because of this person and is uncomfortable with that, not because they don't love a guy like that, but because of that struggle, that loss of self. That's what it is, because of that loss of self. Not even loss of self, that loss of, it's not even, what is it? I'm having mixed emotions describing the mixed emotions. But because of the loss of control, even then it's not a loss of control. Like, it's not wanting to submit. Submission has heavy connotations in dating or whatever, but there is power in submission, especially for somebody who understands that power in submission and is comfortable in that role. There is a whole lot you can do from a submissive position in a relationship. Get your minds out of the gutters, but there's a whole lot you can do. Like, you've definitely seen the Claire Hug. I was going to Claire Huxtable example, but there's definitely power you can wield from that role, right? It's not subservience. It's not servitude. It's a yin and a yang. It's alongside the yin and the yang. And Sam isn't comfortable being the yang to Casey's yin. Or doesn't want to be. Or has convinced herself that she never will be and shouldn't ever be or whatever. Probably until she ran into Casey. Especially after the Grissom stuff and the Richard Allen Wesley stuff. Probably didn't, wanted to be tough, exterior, right? And Casey broke down her walls. Casey broke down her shell. And she hates him for that. And she hates that she loves him. And she hates that she still loves him. And she won't let herself love this man. There's a whole lot going on here. But this is a fantastic scene. And Casey is bringing out Casey also, he knows what he's doing. He knew what he was doing when he decided he was going to be the whale, her big white whale of whales. He knew that. He never wanted a casino host because he wanted Sam. He knew that. And he knows what he's doing. So again, it's not unwarranted completely. He knows what he's doing, but he's not. I don't think Casey's coming from a place of evil or anything. I think he really does love Sam. And I think he really does want a life with Sam. And really has been contemplating trying to build a life to bring Sam into. Has been trying to build up his nest to bring this woman into. And to not necessarily try to impress her, but to grow up, to build himself up, to maybe to show off a little, maybe to impress her a little bit. Everything we do is to impress a chick. So he knows what he's doing when he brings up the beach that they stayed at for 2 months.
No, I don't remember that.
We made love in the moonlight every single night. My God, you were so beautiful. I remember thinking before I went to sleep, all wrapped up with you, that if I died right then and there, I would die the happiest man in the whole world.
I remember.
Admit it, Sam, you still love me.
I don't love you, Case.
Then why haven't you ever divorced me?
Because I've been really busy.
For 7 years.
Yeah. 7 years. Time flies,
Why are you afraid of me, Sam?
I'm not afraid of you.
Okay, then open the door and talk to me.
We are talking.
Sam, please just open the door.
No, Casey, I will not open the door. I can hear you fine.
I still love you, Sam.
It is, man, that is such a, man, that scene between them, Sam is still in love with that man. And he's still in love with her. This is not a Danny situation. He's not playing around. He's not playing no games. He knows what he wants. He wants Samantha Jane Marquez Manning. But what is she doing? She is trying to avoid it for whatever reasons. For whatever reason, she's trying to avoid it. But Sam, you can do worse. We've seen you do worse. You can do worse. But we'll come back to it. There's more to come back to. Casey and Sam. We whoosh out of the casino back to the courthouse. And Ed's in trouble for being late. But he wants to hold a conference with the judge to try to talk about what he's discovered. He doesn't tell her that that's what the thing is for, but he's trying to get that out of the way. Meanwhile, Danny is trying to get closer to official, but he can't do it before the race starts, and we're on our way. Ed is on his way into the judge's office, and they talk about, at least for half a second, the camera capabilities that Ed has figured out. But the judge tells Ed that he can't use any of that evidence. The only thing he can go into that room and use is the stuff that's been presented in the case, which legally is correct. And we've seen that on all these legal shows. That's one of the legal tropes that they talk about that actually is correct. You have, if you're doing that, you have to use the evidence that's presented before you. You can't, especially as just a juror, you can't bring in new evidence. The lawyer has to bring in new evidence or something like that. And Ed didn't go to the lawyers, which he couldn't do anyway. That would be jury tampering and could result in a mistrial, probably would result in a mistrial. He came directly to the judge with the information. But the judge tells him he's got to go in there with the evidence presented to him.
And on a personal note, I don't want to be here all night. It's Valentine's Day and I have plans.
So Ed needs to go in there and take care of this very quickly because the judge does not want to be there all night having to deal with this case. Hold on a second. Let's get a new deck in here and we'll be right back. You're listening to Rainy Days Don't Get Me Down by Anthony Njoku. If you like what you're hearing, want to hear it again, hear more, or both, just go to tinyurl.com/anjoku. That's tinyurl.com/anjoku. Meanwhile, we are back to the split screen in Santa Anita. Sam is running from Casey. The horses are running the race. Ed's mind is running 1,000,000 miles per minute as he's sitting there watching the case. As all this is happening, we get another musical cue. The musical cue here, if you're watching on the original or DVD, is We Went As Far As We Felt Like Going, which is on the Las Vegas soundtrack, which you should get. It's a good soundtrack. If you're watching on streaming service, they changed it to Boss Man by SATV Music. Boo! Boo! Not a great song. And certainly not a great song for this episode or this scene. This is the same thing that they did with Duran Duran, where they didn't license all the Duran Duran songs for the Duran Duran episode. They didn't license all the Pussycat Dolls song for the Pussycat Doll episode. Matter of fact, they really only use the ones I think that they're kind of stuck with because they're live performing it. Bean counters suck, man. Bean counters really suck. They strip the life out of the entertain. Get out of my art, you stupid bean counters. Damn. Leave the damn song by itself. So Sam, it's hilarious seeing Sam do the different hiding. And again, this also is reminiscent of those couple of relationships that I'm talking about where Sam is trying to run from him, but he's right there, as charming as ever. And it's just fun to watch. Meanwhile, the Beliskis' horse just won that race, and we see one of the guys behind the Beliskis and Derry talk about how not good it is what we just witnessed. We cut back into the jury room, and Ed is the one holdout saying that the kid is not guilty. We then cut back to Sam and Casey, and Casey has Sam in his arms by that truck that she was in and staring deeply into her eyes.
I've loved you since the day I met you. Okay? I want you to come away with me.
And here's the thing, it cuts they go to kiss. And it cuts off just before the scene ends, just before, like they're leaning in to kiss, but the scene cuts off just before their lips meet. But they're going in for that kiss. Meanwhile, we hear Call to Post again. That's the we've heard that once at least already in this episode. That is also on All Incarnations. So Bert is explaining to Danny and the track officials what he was doing with the betting. He says he didn't think that his wife's horse would stand a chance of winning, so he bet across the board to try to cover his bets. And the $200,000 that Danny saw him bet was for his wife. It was his wife's money. And he sold the horse because it was an offer that he couldn't refuse. So everything seems to be taken care of there. There's no discrepancies. So the Beliskis come together with Derry and talk about their plans for Valentine's Day, including but not limited to.
I think that Betty's ready to head on back to Vegas. We've got VIP seating for the Pussycat Dolls Valentine's show, then dinner, and a little swingers party.
Maybe you two'd like to join us.
And Mary is not necessarily interested whatsoever. Ed is in the jury room, and he's telling him why he's got his doubts about this kid committing the crime, and one juror says,
So what you're all telling me here is that without a shadow of a doubt, this kid committed the crime.
You're gonna keep us here all night, aren't you?
Yeah, if I have to.
And we see more montages here as Sam again is running away from Casey. Now here's the thing about that. Yes, I would want, if I were in that situation, I would want a jury to go ahead and take their time if it means I get to go free for a crime I didn't commit. I don't care. I, as a juror, if I got to that point, I've gotten jury duty before, but I've never actually gotten further than like the waiting area and they sent us all home. But if I got to that point and it was clear the person wasn't guilty, then yeah, I don't care that you're mad at me for keeping you from whatever errand you have to do. This guy's not guilty, and I don't want to send him away for 7 years on something he didn't do just because you want to get home early. Which is, that's a whole other rant you could go on about our justice system and how terrible that is that not only can happen, but probably has happened and does happen every single day. But I digress. Sam has run into the Pussycat Dolls dressing room or area, and Casey is trying to find her. And so Ed holds the demonstration to show that the right-handed kid in the room, the defendant, couldn't have committed the crime because of his positioning at the slot machine. And we then cut to Tainted Love by the Pussycat Dolls. This is one of the songs that they couldn't remove because they're actually performing it live. You stupid bean counters, leave the music alone. Anyway, and this is one of maybe my favorite scenes of the whole series.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. I've got to get away from the pain you drove into the heart of me. Love Michelle seems to go nowhere, and I've lost my light for I toss and turn. I can't sleep at night. Once I ran to you. Now I'll run from you. This tainted love you've given.
Is that Sam?
What the hell is she doing?
Whatever she's doing, she ain't doing it very well.
Now I know I've got to run away. I've got to get away. You don't really want any more.
Did you see that? In that shot right there, I had to cut that off. In that shot right there, where Casey stops her from running off stage after she's changed to disguise herself as one of the Pussycat Dolls, somehow, but not her face. She just changes into Pussycat Doll lingerie burlesque outfits. But anyway, she runs into Casey and she stops and she shakes her hand and shakes her head no, I'm not gonna be hypnotized by those eyes. I'm not gonna be hypnotized by that body, that smell, that hair. No, I don't know. No, I'm not gonna be hypnotized by it. I'm not. Even though she clearly is. She's clearly again. This is very. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there, Casey.
Things right. You need someone to hold you tight. And you think love is to pray. But I'm sorry, I don't pray that way. Once I ran to you. Now I'll run from you. This tainted love you've given. Give you all a girl could give you.
But also, the Pussycat Dolls don't stop that. They don't stop Sam. They don't stop Casey. They just keep going. They don't even break a sweat. They don't even look in the different directions. It just happens around them. But it's a great scene. It's a great scene. Meanwhile, we get a wrap up to the Hunts here as Delinda accidentally runs into Mrs. Hunt and her new friends in front of her.
I'll just stay and watch the train wreck, but I got a hot Valentine's date. Oh, really? I'm sorry.
And we see something else. We see Nessa and Mike commiserate about Valentine's Day and how much they hate it.
I hate Valentine's Day.
Yeah, me too.
It's just too much pressure. It's like if you haven't got a Valentine, you feel like a total loser.
Exactly. So what are you doing tonight?
Are you asking me out?
No, of course not. I just thought we wouldn't look like such losers if we hung together instead of being alone on Valentine's Day, but...
All right, I'm down with that. We'd be just two friends who hate Valentine's Day hanging out together, right?
Right.
Right.
Unless you want to get busy.
Don't push it, mate.
Mikey can't, man, shoot your shot. I want to be up. Shoot your shot, Mike. Shoot your shot, Mike. Shoot your shot, Mike. Yes. Go for it, Mike and Nessa. Shoot your shot, baby. After that Nina St. John episode, I said I like the way they look as a couple. I said that. So did a lot of Las Vegas fans. We said at the time, we said that. All right, Mike, you're hanging out with Nessa as friends. And Sam tries to run away, but she is out of room. There is no more road to go. And she is cornered by Casey.
I love you.
Do you want to hear?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to hear.
I'm not going with you, Casey.
Have dinner with me tonight,
No.
please.
Why?
Because no one should be alone on Valentine's Day.
You made this.
Yeah, I made it.
He made her a Valentine's Day card. But again, she's still afraid of the love that Casey's having for her. You can still see that on her because she's still even in this moment trying to get him to leave. But he says that he's thinking about buying the place. Gee, I wonder why. And the Pussycat Dolls start wrapping up Tainted Love. As I like their version of Tainted Love. Not as good as other versions I've heard, but I like their version of Tainted Love. I think that actually probably should have been on the soundtrack, though we went as far as we felt like going, ended up on there. Speaking of that, the song I found out while trying to post one of the Pussycat Dolls' birthdays doing this show, that song was actually done decades earlier by Tim Curry, and that's a great version too. You should listen to the Tim Curry version of We Went As Far As We Felt Like Going. So we cut to Derry as they're also watching the concert. Mary never figured out who sent her the gifts. So it does look like she actually does have a secret admirer.
You're not jealous, are you?
No.
No? Really? 'Cause it sort of seems like you might be a...
Okay, maybe a little.
Yeah.
I only want what's best for you, Mary. I always have. Happy Valentine's Day.
So here's the thing about that scene, and this is another reason Derry shippers, we just can't let this go, because Mary looked like she wanted Danny to say something in that moment, like she wanted Danny to fight for her in that moment. And even when Danny came in to kiss her on the forehead, she looked like she wanted to kiss him on the lips. She was going up to kiss, because Danny was leaning in to kiss, and she was leaning in to kiss him on the lips, but he stopped on her forehead. Mary is still in love with Danny. She is still in love with, even after breaking up the engagement, which there was good reasons for breaking up the engagement. Like Danny wasn't ready, but she's still in love with him. She's talking about hypnotized. She's still in love with him. So as Mary and Danny have their little interaction, we hear My Buttons by the Pussycat Dolls. That's the last musical cue that you hear. That'll play us out. That's on all incarnations of the episode. And again, I think they kept that in because it was close enough to, like, you don't actually see them perform it, but that was another one that they managed to keep in. And good for them for doing so. We see Ed leave the courthouse. It's at nighttime. Hopefully the judge is still able to make her appointment. Ed is met with Jillian, who comes and meets him with a picnic to celebrate the day and brings a blanket for them to celebrate. And she is more in love with Ed now because he was willing to make that sacrifice for the kid, and her hearing his story about his youthful indiscretions and wanting to give somebody a second chance. And so she is more in love with him now because of that. And she also has her present.
Okay.
Oh, and I brought this. Your present to me.
Where the heck did you get that?
I took it from Mike. You know, he's really good at the surveillance part, but he needs a little work on the security.
Well, happy Valentine's.
Poor Mike. Poor Mike.
So, can I open my present now?
No, not till after dinner.
Oh, come on.
Yes, again, and that one also very reminiscent of a relationship of mine. This is a classic episode of Las Vegas. Man, it really, really is. And that's why it's 9 out of 9, in my opinion. Like, it's hard pressed for it to get any better, and I am looking, and makeup person is different, and hairstylist is different for this episode. That's probably why it's a little bit better. I hate to do that, but yeah, this is I told you we got maybe I spoiled a little something, but we did do, we see a little start of one shipment. I'm not going to go into much more detail about that. We'll get into that in another episode or two. We see the Casey and Sam situation, the peak is not the culmination, but it's the apex of, that's not even the apex. It's like the start of theirs situation. Really, we get to hear more about that. Now, again, the timelines are off, but we're going to stick for the time being with the timelines that we have, I guess, now for everything. And that's not even factoring in the Richard Allen Wesley stuff. Because I think the Richard Allen Wesley stuff was, I think it might have been, it's enough time so that she still could have had that adventure with Casey. But, okay, sure, 7 years ago. Fine. But yeah, and Ed's dad dying when he was a kid as opposed to 15 years ago when he clearly wasn't a kid. Okay, sure. Anyway, I love this episode, and I can see why other people love this episode too. It's very fun. It's not frenetic, but it's very high paced. It feels like a little bit of an old school Vegas vibe with the different squared shots moving and changing shape and changing size in the same screen that you're watching on, and you're playing along with 3 different stories that are going on at the same time, and those different stories are playing into each other and playing into a 4th story and playing into a 5th story. Everybody gets to play, but also they're juggling the stories. They're perfectly balancing the stories. Every story is balanced perfectly for how long it should be playing on in the screen. And every person is as well. And they do so well with this episode. If you want to show somebody a quintessential Las Vegas episode, this is an episode to show them. This is a quintessential classic Las Vegas episode the way it should be. Damn near top to bottom the way it should be. Again, we got some details out of whack. We've got some of the different things. That's what brings it down to a 9.9. But the performances are great. The casting of Dean Cain is perfect. Especially because at this point in his career, he already has a couple of movie of the weeks under his belt where he's played the good-looking but secretly dangerous boyfriend / husband. And I think I was right. This is on the heels of him doing the Scott Peterson movie of the week, which was the perfect quintessential movie of the week Dean Cain thing to play, and he looked like him enough so that it worked. Yeah, no, just on the heels. So he wasn't just Superman. There was still almost kind of is there something a little dark about Dean Cain and blah, blah, blah. But then he comes in and he does the charming thing again, and you can see the little edge to him that not only draws Sam to Casey, but makes Sam want to repel from Casey because she's the one that's supposed to be hard and tough, and she shouldn't be soft. She doesn't want to, because of all the mixed emotions that she has with Casey. Right? All those different elements play into this, and it's just the chemistry between them is so good. And again, I have definitely been Casey in these types of situations with my own versions of Sam multiple times. Wow, how many times do you do that? Multiple times, actually, over my lifetime, yes, with my own versions of Sam. For various reasons, various times, like multiple times. It's crazy. Anyway, I should play this bit back when I'm feeling a little down on myself. Like, you sexy beast, you've been Casey Manning to a couple different Sams. But yeah, that's this episode. 9.9 out of 10 for me. This is quintessential Las Vegas. This is classic Vegas, baby. It almost doesn't get any better than this. It almost doesn't get any. I'm hard pressed to think about. Actually, I can think about 2 other potential episodes that might reach perfection. But this is very close. This is quintessential. This is it. This is it. This is it. But that's my opinion, which, as we all know, doesn't matter. Your opinion is the one that matters. So I want to hear what you think about this episode and all the places that we can hear about what you think about this episode. That includes on the Facebook Las Vegas, the series page. That includes on the Reddit Las Vegas TV show page. That includes on Twitter at the Podecito. That includes on all those different places. Please come on and support the Podecito on all the best ways that you can, including but not limited to, for free. That's right. You can support it for free. Here's how you do that. You share it. You share it. You like some stuff. You share some stuff. You retweet some stuff. You repost some stuff. That's how you can help keep the Podecito for the Montecito growing on our journey here. If you are monetarily inclined to help, please do so. That's another way of doing it. While you're putting out buckets of ducats for the Wayback Machine, you can throw a chip to your dealer over here, over at the Podecito. We got all the ways to do it. The link tree is open. You can go on the link tree and find the best way you can go and support as well, whether it's coffee, ko-fi, Podecito, or buy me a coffee at the Podecito, or Patreon, the Podecito. Those are the best places. You get perks as well when you do that. Go and find the perk that works for you, and you can be a supporter here of the Podecito. Next week's episode is to protect and serve Manicotti. This is another really good episode, actually. Again, I told you we're coming into the classic era of season 2 of Las Vegas. It's another really good episode. It's actually rated higher on IMDb than this one is. So if IMDb is able to push up their ratings for it, maybe I can push my rating up for it as well. This is the one where we get Joe Rogan and Sylvester Stallone coming back onto the set. So this will be a pretty good one if you ask me. That's next week. This week was Tainted Love. Classic episode. Thank you for joining me as we go along on this journey through our favorite show for this episode. I appreciate you coming along. I can't wait to get to next week's episode. And remember, until next time, please take care.